Hello. Are we on, Taffy? Hello, hello, hello. We got the Furball Express down here getting her little fuzzy four-legged butt massage going on. Yeah, she's happy. A little bit of stormy storms today, so she hid most of the day. So, yeah, she heard me starting to record. So we're going to start a recording. And this is for, I've actually done a couple of videos on this topic already, but I've noticed that when it comes closer to an actual eclipse, people want to have a conversation about it. They want to talk about it, or they want to read about it, or they want to, they want to know more, right? They just want to know more, right? They're like, okay, this is it. What's going to happen? I forgot what the damn video was about a month ago or however many months ago it was. So this video is to kind of give us a little bit of a refresher, but because there's always so much going on in the charts that I pull up, there's something else that I can't remember if I talked about or not. And I think it's, a worthy thing to talk about and to show again. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to show a chart. I'm going to show a chart. And I had this one titled as I did the software's chart. So it says it's a lunar penumbral eclipse. Yeah. So what does all that mean? Well, that has to do of the layers around the actual Earth itself. When it says penumbral, yeah, if you go on to nasa.com or even timeanddate.com, they describe the eclipse. I should say timeanddate.com, and it tells you the breakdown of the penumbral, however the hell you say that. And it has to do with like the layers of the energy that emits from the Earth, and those different layers that emanate off of the planet, and there might be part of a shadow part that has to do with that too. That's where the word penumbral comes in. So it tells us what layer. And that's not my area of expertise. So I'm actually going to not say another word about that because that's just not my thing. My thing is the dang planets. And well, planets have personality. And so we're going to go over that. We're going to talk about that. We're going to kind of go and just find out how does that work anyway. So hopefully, I don't know if this is better if I'm on a smaller screen or what. Oh, how about no screen at all? That's good, G. Let me see what the difference is on the chart size. Actually, this is weird, but this is a bigger chart. How weird is that? My face is bigger, but the chart is bigger. So we're going to stick with this one. I think that's okay. If you're watching, let me know in the comments, please. And if you don't have a chart, like, because you don't know crap about astrology, right? You're like, okay, I don't know anything about this. Comment below and we'll get you started. We will get you started. Costs you nothing but to subscribe to my channel, to comment in the video, to say, hello, I'm here. I'm a newbie. Like, let's go slow. Like, it's okay. I like that. I'm really all about the excitement of somebody entering upon this new phase in their time in their life, this new level of awareness, because that's what astrology gave to me, another level of awareness about myself and understanding. And then that from there emanated to the more I could understand me and all the energies, like all the signs that make up who I am. Because, we are 360 degrees. Your chart is 360 degrees. And 30 degrees is assigned to one sign, right? So 30, right? 30 degrees multiplied by 12. You follow what I'm saying? 12 signs of the zodiac and so on. We can go on all day, but we won't go any further on that. But you're every sign. You're every single sign. And so once we accept that and understand it, and of course, now that I'm not massaging her, she's like, I want out. Taffy, I'm recording. You're stuck until I'm done. Okay, so where are we? Let me get focused here for you guys. So this is the eclipse, even though it says that, right? You know it's the eclipse because it says May 5th. And it's got the right date on it and the right year. And then let me move that down so you can see that. There you go. right? May 5th. Yep. So that's Friday. And the time zone that I'm in, Central Daylight Time Zone, that's where I live. That's where I'm recording. And so that's at 12:34. And this is a full moon eclipse. And so what does that mean? It means wherever the moon is and whatever sign it's in, we see the moon right there in Scorpio, 1458. Yep, for a Scorpio eclipse. And then you'll automatically see the sun exactly opposite of that. So if I go exactly opposite, you've got Taurus there. And it's at 1458, the sun in Taurus, right? Because Taurus and Scorpio run along that same line of fixed energy, right? They don't want to change. They don't want to budge. They're a bit stubborn, right? It's really good energy because they've got like that stick-to-itiveness. So Mars ruling Scorpio, that makes this the warrior, the soldier. Yeah. Think about what soldiers experience. I can't even imagine, right? And what they have to go through, but they can't give up, right? You can't give up the battle. You just got to keep on fighting. And so that's Mars and that's Scorpio, but it's also Pluto, right? And so go check out my Pluto video. I have to look a little mini, it's only two videos long, but it kind of goes in deep about Pluto energies and helps us to understand that about ourselves. Like where is our Pluto energy and how does that show up in our world, in our life, right? How do we express it? And how can you recognize it? Like, oh, that's my Pluto energy, right? That video will help you understand that. So because the sun and the moon are opposite of each other, right? We've got the sun over here, right? And we've got the moon all the way over there. Whenever the sun and the moon are opposite of each other, that automatically gives you a full moon. So this full moon, and how do I know what sign the full moon is going to be in? It's in Scorpio because the moon is in Scorpio, right? Right. Sun's in Taurus, moon in Scorpio. Now, this is an eclipse because we see there's a node right there. See that horseshoe? Yeah, that is called the south node. And that is what makes this eclipse so profound. Okay. The south node is all about making a release. It's a letting go. It's a been there, done that, got the t-shirt, wrote a book, the whole thing. It's like, I'm done. I already went through all that. It's over with, right? And you heard me talk about like Scorpio and the soldier. So kind of references war and fighting. And I don't know how many Scorpios have talked about how they're just so done. They're tired. They're tired of fighting. They don't say I'm tired of fighting. They say, I just want peace. I'm tired. I'm hearing this. I can't tell you how many in the last 30 days have been saying that. People with a lot of prominent Scorpio energy. And this is that. This is like, I surrender almost, right? But you never hear of a soldier surrendering. It's more like, I'm tired. I don't know if I can go on. And so people feel like part of themselves, possibly part of their ego. One of the subscribers made a really good point. They were always talking about my ego. And we always associate ego to Martian energy, right? And so typically when we talk about Martian energy, we're talking about Aries because Mars rules Aries, right? But what else does Mars rule? It rules Scorpio, right? Scorpio has Mars and Pluto as its ruler. So is it possible that we are also releasing ego, our egoic tendencies, our egoic actions, our fighting ways, right? I want to go and fight. I'm the soldier. I'm going to carry on. Like, is it possible we're just surrendering to a higher cause, a higher purpose, and saying, I don't want to give up on this battle, and I'm not giving up on the battle. I'm just giving up on thinking I'm the one that's got to fight the battle. I surrender to a higher cause and a higher power. Remember, I've mentioned the Crusades, or because, at that time, these people, these warriors were like, oh, yeah, you go and fight for us and all the things that you have to do in the name of God and the name of Christianity and for the sake of the church, like your sins will be forgiven. All is forgiven. No worries. You will be fine. You will be, yeah, you'll be A-okay because you were fighting for God. And that is Scorpio energy. So Scorpio in a really high level. And I don't know, have a better word. I don't really like using the word like higher level, like as if they're better, right? As if it's, yeah, it's just another way of expressing the energy. So instead of it being basic and instinctual, which would be survival mode, kill or be killed, right? Think about it. And then we get to the next level, which is I'm creating, right? I'm creating, I'm using my intuition, right? I'm taking that creative power. Um, so I could be making babies, but I could be doing art, right? That's Scorpio energy. And then if you go to a different level with it, right? It's like, it should be about more than just me. There should be something even higher, even something maybe supreme, right? And so Scorpio can rise up and start talking about God or the universe or the divine or creator, or however and whatever word is for you that works better, right? So Scorpio energy takes it up and starts using it in a more altruistic energy, right? They start expressing it in a more altruistic way. And so that was all just to say, those are the 3 degrees of ways of things that we could be releasing. So you have to figure out in your own world, how does your Scorpio energy express? How have you been living? Because this would have been something you would have been quite fixed in, a fixed way, because it worked. It got you the results. But then when you get to a point where you're like, dang, everything I'm doing, it's not producing results any longer. I feel like I'm hitting a brick wall. I feel like I'm just like I'm being forced or I'm being sidelined. I'm being told, you used to be the quarterback, but now we're asking you to take a seat, right? But guess what happens? And I'm sorry I brought sports into this, but it's Mars and it's Pluto. And I can only use sports as kind of like an analogy because I haven't been in the armed services. So I can't really use those terms. But if you have been, please give some examples in the comments below, because this would be a great example that you could probably just weave into this meaning with me, which is, think of some of those great quarterbacks where they know, right, they're getting up there and they know like the clock is ticking, they know their time is running out. And so what do? They take another quarterback under their wing, right? They take them under their wing and they teach them the ropes. They kind of teach them some of those little veteran, like gems, right? Because these were skills that they learned through experience. And then they've gained a lot of wisdom, right? Some knowledge and some wisdom weaved into that. And so it was like they understood that for the team to win and make it, they, that backup quarterback had to be good, right? And so they had to share some of that battle with them. They had to know that in case they got injured, there has to be somebody else who can step in. Or at least somebody when, for whatever reason, they're not operating optimally, right? When they see that the way they're doing things or they used to do things just aren't working anymore. So they kind of hand it off. They hand it off. How about that? And so Scorpio energy, when it's operating on the high level, I think of the labors of Hercules. And if you read the labors of Hercules, Alice Bailey's got a great little short book out, Labors of Hercules, the 8th labor, Scorpio, the 8th labor, right? Number 8. And in the 8th labor, Hercules is all big and bad and strong. And like Hercules is just like, yeah, amazing, right? And so Hercules is comes upon like this many-headed beast, right? And it's like, you can't beat it. As soon as you chop off a head, another one grows back. And so Hercules goes into the battle with his axe or with his knife or his blade or his sword or whatever it is. And he thinks, yeah, I'm going to attack this thing and I'm going to conquer it with my strength. And so Hercules tries that. Hercules is over there chopping away at the head. And every time he chops one head off, like 5 more grow back. And he realizes, holy shit, no matter how hard I try, this isn't working. So what does he do? At one point, he realizes there's only one solution, and it's not with the sword. It's got nothing to do with his physical energy. He literally bends down on one knee and sort of just like lifts his hands, lifts it all up to the light, takes that wound, that, okay, I'm vulnerable, like I can't win this battle, right? That, what soldier wants to be like, okay, I'm giving up or I surrender? They don't, right? So it's like he lifts it up. He gets down on one knee and he puts his arms in the air. And I can't remember if he's putting his sword into the air. If you know the story, put it in the comments. It's been a while since I've read it, but he puts his arms up in the air and it's like he's surrendering, but he's offering his problem up to the light. And what happens is, some way, somehow, more light ends up coming in. And it is that light that comes in that actually conquers this like multi-headed beast. And when you read the story, you're thinking, wow, this is fantastical. Like this is like an action adventure flick or something, and it's just really, vibrant and strong and colorful and exciting and scary. And it's like all these emotions. But then when you get done with it, you're kind of wondering, okay, so what was the whole point of all that? What was this many-headed beast? He lifted up and he kind of surrendered, and then like magically this beast died. But it's not until later that you realize what that many-headed beast represented. It wasn't so much about the beast. It was about what it symbolized. And what Hercules found out was it symbolized his own ego, his own wounds, his own vulnerabilities. It is all about the self. And it is about saying, stop trying to hide that vulnerability. Stop trying to hide those wounds. Be willing to lift them up, because in that lifting up, it's like we're accepting. So if you don't like the word surrender, it's like we're accepting, and therefore we can release. We can accept and release because we realize this isn't my battle. Like I've been fighting and fighting and fighting, and it's just not working. And sometimes we just have to lift it up and put that problem or whatever that thing is, shed some light on it, allow some light on it. And there might be a different perspective. There might be an answer. There might be a solution, especially since your way of doing things hasn't been working. Okay. Now with that, this video wasn't really about that, but I kept hearing Hercules. So I guess it was important to share that story. So the South Node is about a surrender. It's about a release. It's about letting go, right? The full moon, the moon itself with this eclipse, is about emotions. So deep buried emotions, but the moon is also about the past. So this is like soul families, soul memory, soul history, whatever works better for you, however that sounds better for you, whatever better closely resonates for you. Okay. It's energetics, right? And so we can meet people and, you just feel a certain way. You just feel a certain way. You get along or you don't get along. You're like oil and water, or you just like really vibe together and you can like almost finish each other's sentences, right? Like there's that. And then there's just like a whole other plethora, a whole other rainbow of ways where there's awkwardness and there's fumbling. And we just feel like every time each of us try to speak, we speak at the same damn time, right? I get that with my mom a lot. Every time we both go to speak, we begin speaking at the exact same time. And it's really hard on the phone with somebody who has a hearing problem, who is, legally deaf in one ear, but yet has the issues of aging and hearing as well. And so it's like, oh my God. And you don't know if the hearing aids are in anyway. So it can be a real struggle. And when that happens, all I can do is just close my mouth and wait. Just be quiet and wait. And 9 times out of 10, I have found she'll hear the silence and then she'll take the initiative and go ahead and speak. And then I can hear what she had to say. So somebody has to pause, right? Somebody has to pause and wait. And then somehow the ball gets rolling and we honor each other's timing a little bit more closely, even though we're on the phone and we're not face to face, which is a big difference when people are talking, right? So there's just a lot of those nuances that we're kind of feeling around and understanding And feeling is a big word with the moon and a big word with Scorpio energy, really psychic sign. So releasing some people from the past, releasing some people, even like severing those soul bonds, severing those soul bonds. This is a big, big eclipse for a lot of people. Okay. There's a lot of people who aren't necessarily family members that are involved in this. Like we don't share blood in this life, right? We don't share bloodlines, right? But there's a lot of people that we call family where we don't have bloodlines, but yet we're severing, because it's like our soul stories have come to a conclusion. We've realized, okay, like I worked so hard at this, but it's like, it's not my thing anymore. Like I don't have to keep working at this. I don't have to keep fighting at this, right? It doesn't have to always be this struggle, even though that Scorpio energy loves that struggle. But because we're in the South Node mode, which we are, which is like, stop fighting. Just kind of stop fighting. You don't have to surrender, but just kind of like, what if some people say, there's lots of different sayings, Jesus take the wheel, right? Let go and give to God, or whatever those sayings are. You probably heard them, but it's all the same thing. It's all the same thing. It's like there's this other divine higher thing that can help us along in this journey and in this battle. What I wanted to talk about in this video also was vertex. So I'm going to get a different color for you guys, and I want to kind of point out vertex here. You see vertex here at 4 degrees and 26 minutes. I know, Taff, I'm coming. I'm almost done. Vertex is at 4 degrees. Okay. That number 4 should, like, your ears should perk up, right? And I'm going to show you why. The ears should perk up. How about I just leave that there? The ears should perk up because the North Node and the South Node, which is what makes this an eclipse, are at 4 degrees. You see that? That's the North Node in Taurus. Money, values, love, food, the earth, banking, right? Our ability to be stable, to feel stable. I got to turn that down. Sorry about that. That's Taurus energy, creature comforts, beauty, and peace. North Node, my future. This is what we want for our future. I want peace. I want peace. I want beauty. I want harmony. Let us live in peace on earth. Taurus energy, the North Node. How do we go about that? How do we get that? How do we live in harmony? Taurus. How do we live in harmony with the earth? 4 degrees. South Node, 4 degrees. That's completely normal. The nodes run along that same line of energy, right? So what's big? What's the importance here? Well, this vertex is considered like a fated moment, an experience, an opportunity, a person, a happening. You open the door and somebody comes in. You bump into each other. You take a class and there's somebody there in that class that you're with. And this was a class you had no intention of taking. And it landed in your lap. Whether you didn't even, it wasn't part of your plan, but it just ended up happening that way, right? And then you meet somebody in that class who tells you the same story. Like, yeah, I normally work at this time. I wasn't even supposed to take this class. Those kind of events. Well, that's vertex. That's vertex. And it's in Libra. So it's significant one-on-one relationships, personal, private, business. This is important. Business. That vertex, when we look at the chart at 4 degrees to the North Node, money and values, this is what we call a quincunx. It's an irritation, okay? But there's also going to be an anti-vertex at the opposite of this vertex, and the anti-vertex will be in Aries energy, because the opposite of Libra is Aries. It'll be in Aries over here at 4 degrees. This is where the opposite of the vertex point will be. Anti-vertex will be conjunct White Moon Lilith. It's Aries, so it's about the freedoms of my body, my identity, my individuality, my independent actions of my body, my appearance, and also how we identify. And and that freedom. Aries is the one running around with that freedom flag. That's Aries energy for sure. So this energy here creates a quincunx to the north node. It's uncomfortable. It's an irritation, and likely businesses, hearing about businesses that are, filing for bankruptcy, or because, remember, Mercury is going through the books. Mercury's going through the books. So banks, more banks, right? Stuff like that. But see in your chart if you have something at the 4 degrees in Libra and at the 4 degrees in Aries. Okay. See if you have something there, because these can be on this day, right? May 5th. Because remember, this vertex moment, it's not even about May 5th. I mean, it is May 5th, but it's also the time. Vertex moves very fast. If I were to move this chart up 1 hour, vertex will suddenly be at 8 degrees. At 8 degrees in the sign of Libra. So you see why this is such a huge deal, that this vertex is at 4 degrees at the time of this big release eclipse. This is a south node full moon eclipse in Scorpio. Old wounds, hurts, old battles, vulnerabilities, things that we kept buried deep and hidden. This can be shared value, so old money, inheritances even. People call this Scorpio, so it's death and taxes, right? Things that we cannot escape. But it is healing and transformations as well. So for the eclipse, 1458, 15 degrees Scorpio, where is that in your chart? And look for your vertex energy. Libra energy, this is diplomacy. Libra wants peace and fairness and equality. And look. One last thing. Look at Jupiter, the judge. The judges, the Supreme Court, possibly in the United States, getting very close to the critical degree. Getting very close to the critical degree. So there's a lot going on. This is an exciting and possibly, a wonderful release for some people, a welcome release for some people. But that vertex energy, find out where that 4 degrees is. This can be a big deal for many of you. Some of you on that day, there just might be somebody that you meet, whether it's a phone call, whether it's a business associate, somebody new in your life possibly, or somebody leaving your life. The vertex and the anti-vertex. Doors opening and doors closing. That is what the vertex and the anti-vertex represent. Opportunities and people, doors opening and doors closing. Or, as they say, when one door closes, somewhere God opens a window. Happy eclipse. I got to go because Taffy, she's upset with me now. Bye-bye.